Austcare has grown and changed greatly since our inception 40 years ago, but the humanitarian principles that compelled Austcare to form still remain relevant. Over the past year, we've continued to make significant contributions to improving the lives of vulnerable people. We're pleased to now bring you some of the highlights of our achievements over the past year from the 52 projects active across 13 countries. In 2006-2007, Austcare continued our emergency response to the earthquakes in Pakistan and Java, Indonesia, and the violence in East Timor. In Timor-Leste, our successful work in displacement camps and with local communities to ensure the safe return home of displaced people has led to the development of a neighbourhood corner, aimed at building the community's strength and self-reliance. In July 2006, and again in May 2007, Austcare provided emergency supplies for displaced people and Palestinian refugees in Lebanon due to outbreaks of conflict. Complementing our emergency response work, Austcare is implementing a disaster management strategy, which aims to reduce the impact of humanitarian emergencies on communities. In the coming year, Austcare is piloting a disaster risk reduction program with women in Aceh to help them identify and reduce their vulnerabilities to hazards such as floods and earthquakes, and then support recovery efforts to enable communities to build back better. Having committed to long-term recovery programs, we're now in the third year of our Aceh operations. Our work is actually growing to meet the needs of people affected by the tsunami through livelihood regeneration programs, including small business startup in Banda Aceh, agricultural development in Pide district, like the Red Chili Farming Project, and environmentally friendly waste management activities. In Sri Lanka, we continued our partnership with ActionAid and a local group to help create sustainable livelihoods for vulnerable tsunami-affected women. The program has created 11 industries, helping 641 people. Meanwhile, our Java earthquake response moved into recovery programs designed to diversify food and income sources. Farmers trained in organic farming methods have been thrilled with the high-quality produce they're now harvesting. It's estimated 40 million people are displaced around the world as the result of war, political instability, and natural disaster. Refugees and internally displaced people are particularly vulnerable, making protection an important component of humanitarian response. Austcare's Protect Now program continued to grow again this year, with 23 protection officers deployed since 2005 to UN agencies in Timor-Leste, Sudan, Kenya, and Pakistan. Protection officers carry out essential activities, including monitoring and reporting on human rights violations, organising the safe return of refugees, and establishing community-based child protection networks. Austcare is implementing programs aimed at reducing sexual and gender-based violence against women in Sri Lanka, Aceh, Indonesia, and in Burmese refugee camps along the Thai border. A Place to Call Home is the research project in partnership with Griffith and the Australian National Universities. This year it involved field research trips to Nepal, the Thai-Burmese border, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh to examine the nature of and the responses to protracted displacement. Austcare has also begun to include protection as a component of all our humanitarian and early recovery programs. This includes workshops with staff in Australia and partners and staff in Timor-Leste. Natural disaster and conflict have a great impact on vulnerable communities who are unable to respond to hazards such as droughts and floods or loss of homes and livelihoods. Austcare is working with communities in Cambodia to reduce the causes of poverty and their vulnerabilities to outside factors like droughts or crop failure, through initiatives such as model farms and rice seed banks. The program is increasing the diversity of farmers' crops and improving access to agricultural and domestic water. In Timor-Leste, Austcare has been working with people to implement sustainable farming methods and enable farmers to produce a variety of foods for adequate nutrition. In the eastern districts, a group of vulnerable teenagers received intensive training as a basis for them to develop careers in agriculture and animal husbandry. In the northern West Bank, the construction of 7 neighbourhood corners is almost complete. The initiative, which aims to increase self-reliance and resilience among women and youth, has seen strong participation in the Train the Trainer aerobics program, work skills training, microfinance, and after-school activities. In countries like Cambodia, Afghanistan and Burma, landmines and other explosive remnants of war have a devastating effect on communities, even decades after the conflict has ceased. In Cambodia, Austcare is implementing integrated mine action, which combines mine clearance with development assistance. That improves the socio-economic situation of mine-affected communities. Along the heavily mined K5 belt, we're working with poor communities to provide access to water, to clear and allocate land, and then increase agricultural production and livestock raising knowledge through model farms and farmer groups. As part of a mine risk education program, 16,000 people along the Thailand-Burma border attended events designed to increase the awareness of the risks of mines. Over the past year, we've supported programs in Lebanon, Afghanistan and Cambodia to assist mine and cluster bomb survivors and people with disabilities to help them reintegrate into the community through education, training and job placement programs. Our Playing Fields Not Minefields campaign continues to raise awareness in Australia of issues related to landmines and explosive remnants of war. This year saw the launch of Landmine Action Week 2007 in Sydney's Martin Place during morning peak hour, and the launch of our campaign to ban cluster munitions. Of course, our fantastic achievements over the last year wouldn't have been possible without the generous support of so many, and we look forward to working with all of you and others again this year.